Hi friends, welcome to Teachers Learning Lounge with Jody. I hope that you are sitting in a cozy chair or in bed with a lot of pillows, that you have your favorite beverage, I've got my water here, and that you are looking to build yourself professionally so that it will impact your teaching career and the learning experience for your students. Today's topic is so important to me that I'm actually going to break it into 3 pieces. And the topic today is going to be relationships at school. Today, we are going to focus on teacher to student relationships. Before we start there, I want to remind everybody that relationships are the single most powerful source on the planet that affect our lives. It has been so interesting to do a little bit of research on really what the power of relationships can do for us physically, emotionally, mentally, and so forth. Research shows that if we have good relationships with others, not just one person, but in different areas of our lives, think about your familial relationships, your friends, your friend circle, and of course, we spend 8+ hours a day in our schools. So those relationships we have with our students really matter. So back to the research. Research shows that people who have strong relationships tend to have less stress. We know that they have faster healing when they have physical ailments or illnesses. We know that people with healthy relationships just have healthier behaviors. The way that they interact with others matters if they have positive relationships. We know that they have a greater sense of purpose. We know that people with strong relationships live longer. There's also other research that shows that good relationships can boost your immune system. Your brain excretes this oxytocin, which allows you to feel surges of happiness. You are 2 to 3 times less likely to have a catastrophic illness if you have positive relationships. And last, you just live longer. So you can see that there is so much evidence that shows that having these healthy relationships tend to matter. So today we'll be focusing on the teacher to student relationship. So first, what do we need to know about the teacher to student relationship? I want to share with you 4 strategies that really work because I've seen it happen not just in my classroom by good example and not good example from my experiences, but from observing hundreds of teachers over the past 8 years in my district assignment in instructional coaching. So first, in order to create a strong teacher-student relationship, I suggest that the teacher create a positive learning culture where deep learning is valued and where mistakes are welcome. So think about that for a minute. There is this culture that happens, I can feel it when I'm in the classroom, where students feel that the teacher wants them to stretch. The teacher expects mistakes to be made. In one classroom, a teacher at the beginning of every class has the students write down their mistake quota for the day. How many risks are you going to take in our class today? And how many of those are going to be mistakes? And that is okay. And this teacher celebrates the correct responses, the correct thinking equally with the risks that are taken, even when they're incorrect, because the students are trying, they're stretching themselves. And if you want to build a really strong classroom culture, please consider the power of making mistakes as you wrap those mistakes around this high expectation of deep learning. Second, know your students' names. Did you know that 51% of junior high and high school students around the nation believe that their teacher does not know their name? I think that's absolutely tragic. And especially if the teacher doesn't know their name or never calls on them by name. I have another piece on my YouTube channel where I talk about strategies for learning names. I'll link that in the show notes if you want to revisit some strategies of ways that you can memorize their names. Third, notice students who do not have relationships with teachers or students. Who are the students that are not being connected with an adult when they go to school every day? We have a school in our district who conducted this really amazing experiment. On a professional learning day, they arrived and there was this huge piece of chart paper that like kind of went from one end of the wall to the other end of a classroom wall. The counselors had copied all of these pictures of all of the 7th and 8th and 9th graders and had them all taped or glued on this massive chart paper. They gave teachers these little round stickers and they asked them to put a sticker next to the student's picture if you have a relationship with the student. Oh, I know the student, I know their name. We actually, talk. I know some things about this student. And so teachers throughout the day were given a good amount of time to literally go student by student and analyze, do I have a relationship with that student? At the end of the day, 30 students had 0 stickers next to their pictures. It became the school goal. What are we going to do to make sure these students are seen? What are we going to do to build a relationship with them? And I bet you already can predict the outcome. By the end of the school year, their attendance had skyrocketed. The way that they interacted, not just with the teacher, but with others at school, changed for the better. They had better grades. They had less absences. It changed the learning trajectory of every one of those 30 students. This is something that this school does now on a regular annual basis. Who are we connecting with and who needs connection? Last, my 4th suggestion is, as you're building relationship with students, please make sure that you know the difference between a friendship and a professional friendship. I'm going to give you a bad example from early in my teaching. I had these 9th graders, so I was probably only maybe 6 years older than them. And I thought that they needed kind of a big sister figure. And so I really wanted to be the cool adult and role model in their life. And so that really worked great for the first month or so of school. And then things started to go south really fast. And I remember one day I was on the kids for something and I was frustrated and I just needed a second. And I stepped out just quickly in the hall for a deep breath, and I had a student who followed me out and she said to me, "What do you think you're doing? You're our friend, not our teacher." That was the problem. I had tried to create a relationship that was friend-based. And when you have friends to friends, it should be an equal relationship. A teacher to student is not an equal relationship. I'm the adult, they are the student, and that changes everything in a classroom. I had to course correct and it was not fun. And it took some phone calls to parents. And I had parents who called me wanting to know why their students suddenly didn't like my class. It was a really powerful experience for me and a mistake that I never made again. How did I course correct? I went back in and I reset the norms. I reset the expectations, the habitual expectations, and then I held them in a firm and kind manner, but I held them. And it took us a while. It took months, but by the end of the school year, we were able to move forward. I hope that these strategies are helpful to you as you think about the relationship that you have with your students. What is one thing you can identify right now that is healthy about your teacher to student relationship in your classroom? And what is one thing that you feel that you can do to improve that relationship so that it benefits the whole student, their learning, their social emotional well-being, their vision for who they are? I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Feel free to leave any of your thoughts in our chat. I hope you will join me again for another learning session in Teachers Learning Lounge.